But since, you know, you talk about cursor,
Mhm.
and a lot of engineers are increasingly relying on cursor, windsurf, and other code completion tools.
Mhm.
जितना मेरे को दिख रहा है ऑलमोस्ट लोग बोल रहे हैं भाई 30-40% कोड ऑटो जनरेट हो जाता है.
Yeah, yeah.
आई थिंक लास्ट ईयर लोग 10-20% बोल रहे थे. अभी वो नंबर 30-40
Oh,
बढ़ ही रहा है.
हाँ, बढ़ ही रहा है.
And this is also, you know, super interesting because in the past था कि, you know, this market and distance की software leading the world, कि सिलिकॉन वैली में इंजीनियर्स इनोवेट करते थे
Mhm.
और कहीं और जाके जॉब डिस्टर्ब होता था.
Mhm.
बट अभी जो इन्वेंट कर रहे हैं जॉब सबसे पहले वहीं पर डिस्टर्ब हो रहा है. और इट्स नॉट जस्ट, यू नो, fear anymore. Like Google, Microsoft, Facebook, everything is reducing their staff by, you know, as much as 5 to 10%, and probably more to come, which is
Yeah.
exciting, scary, you know.
I think, you know, if you ask me, I think it's a good thing. क्योंकि आप पहले का एग्जांपल अगर लिया जाए कि आप कुछ करते थे और जॉब कहीं और डिस्टर्ब पड़ता था, क्या हो क्या रहा था? आपने वहां की इनएफिशिएंसी को यहाँ पे एफिशिएंट बना दिया.
Correct.
That's exactly the thing which is happening. कि अगर आप देख भी लो, in all honesty, in the past 20, since Y2K, 25 years, the software industry people have been making money like movie stars, whereas it is not always that the work has been super, you know, high class.
Movie stars are not making money anymore.
Yeah, but but you know what I mean is like the tech was the place where it was your meal ticket. Agar wahan job lag gayi, so you are set for life. Which is not a bad thing. Everybody has to pursue their thing. But ho kya raha tha ki the bar at which you had to be was actually not that high because we were just beginning. Ab kya ho gaya hai ki like if you are just basically programming, if you're right out of college and the only thing you learned is how to program, or if you got some training where you just know some APIs and things like that, and that is what your value add is, well, that is going away. Because this thing will do it faster than you, and you know, makes the other person even better because it will make fewer mistakes. It will not complain about the tedious job it has to do and all that. But सबसे बढ़िया क्या हो रहा है? This is just a idea forming in my head, and I have to kind of like think through. But I think what is being valued now going forward is what I'll say the lived experience. AI is not living, at least not yet, right? Because it's not captured, it hasn't had its own experience. There's a human feedback and all that, but there's logs of what has been done to it. But Joe software writer hai, has had a lived experience of what writing software means, or has a lived experience of what problem I'm trying to solve. Then this is a great tool for them to apply that lived experience. This is the example. If we completely leave software and go to the doctor, this is the expertise angle, right? Agar aap ye chatbot kar lo and everything is there and this person is the world's best, I don't know, liver doctor, which is fine. But a doctor's lived experience is wo patient dekh ke bolta hai ki there's something not right about you, right? This thing is not there yet and it will keep happening. So the thing is ki the lived experience still is valuable. And I think the same thing applies in software. And I would suggest that it means that anybody who relies purely on their technical skills has to start thinking a little bit more about what's happening in the world and how is their software helping. Then quickly, the minute they do that, they'll realize that this thing is a great tool for them to address that problem.
So I think this is very important. I think let's further break it down. First of all, if you're a software engineer just starting your career, should you be worried that number of software engineer jobs in the world may shrink or already shrinking?
I don't know if the number of jobs will shrink, but if your core skill coming out of the thing is I learned software, that is not enough. But I think the onus is also on the schools to teach other things. Like one of the proposals which I was making to one of the IITs was like have in the final year a double quarter elective, which is all about like, you learned coding, but what about the real world? Abhi kya hota hai ki they come into the real world and then the industry takes the onus of training them. And that is why you'll see the industry will not be willing to hire them. They're like, no, the software does the job, right? But if the universities actually are bringing out people who understand where the user problem is, how do you build a scalable thing? So no longer just code generation, right? Now we're getting into the domain part of the problem. And if they actually get into domain part, then all of a sudden the person who comes out says, I know how to build a scalable solution. I know how to spot problems. I know like series of things which senior software engineers and people above that do.
But the domain part is also in some ways also levels a playing field in this whole term that is very popular now, vibe coding. Application like Lovables and so on. So in the past, maybe I did not learn the programming language, etc., because I'm interested in history, economics, creative thinking.
Yeah.
But now I can, because I can go out, I can talk to people, learn about domain, and come back and have my LLM, do the coding for me. Then there's no difference between you, the software engineer, and me,
And that is fantastic, right? Because the thing is, this is why I said the lived experience part. You are taking your lived experience to say, I see you are living, and you say, this is what I identified. Well, why should a software engineer rest on their technical skills and say, I don't have to worry about that? Well, then you are at a disadvantage.
हाँ, पहले software engineer बोलता है कि मेरे को requirement लाके दे दो, like मेरे को बना दो क्या करना है, and then someone else, dirty job of going out there, talking to customers and writing specs and so.
And that worked at that time because उस समय क्या था कि to program this machine was so hard. अब क्या है, English is the programming language. तो अगर आप समझ गए क्या करना है, then you don't need this person. Which also means these engineers can reinvent themselves.
Very soon, Hindi, Gujarati, Marathi, everything.
हाँ, मतलब वही, like a natural language is the programming language, right? Exactly. Actually, vibe coding पे interesting is since we talked about my LinkedIn post. So last December, and this is actually before the vibe coding term got popularized by Andre Karpathy.
Why don't you first explain also? Maybe people are hearing for the first time. I know it's popular, but maybe क्या होता है vibe
coding? हाँ, तो क्या होता है कि like basically, and मैं December में बताता हूँ हुआ क्या था मेरे साथ, and then I posted, and I'll tell you this the finding, उसमें explain करो. So because these systems can generate code, तो around December Christmas time घर में बैठा था, तो I wanted to figure out कुछ problem है. Okay, साल में कितना पैसा खर्चा हुआ? I got all my bank statements, and it is always tedious because you have to figure out कि ये customer ये credit card नहीं ये बोला है, इसे कौन सा merchant है, all that. So I'm just sitting there and I'm looking at cursor. तो मैंने कहा कि मैं कोड नहीं लिखूंगा, मैं कर्सर को बोलूंगा मुझे क्या करना है, and you keep doing. तो वो बेचारा करता रहा.
बेचारा.
It was just listening to me, so it had no will of its own. The agent part had just come out, or I had just started using agent वाला. अभी तो काफी sophisticated हो गया. This is how fast things move, right? Just 5 months ago. But I kept saying, and it kept doing. But I did not write a single line of code for almost 4 days. And it kept writing what I said. And I kept testing. And I was I did some more things. This is where the domain matters and expertise used to matter at that time, because it would make mistakes. Then I would go to a prior checkpoint and I know कि अच्छा वहाँ ठीक चल रहा था. But overall, I was just sitting back and it was doing the work. And in the end, it ran. So मैं LinkedIn post में मैंने कहा कि software engineering का job चला गया. अब software engineering managers का job आ गया. Like you have to really manage this thing. So वही है vibe coding कि आपका vibe है, आराम से आप बैठे हुए, you're like enjoying the ambience and the environment and the mood you are in, and you're just talking, like because speech recognition भी है, you're just talking to the model saying कि अच्छा ये करो, अच्छा ठीक है कर रहे हैं, you know that राजसी ठाट बात के साथ
पहले दुकान पे के लोग बोलते हैं और दिखाओ At SparX, we aim to bring to you stories of exponential impact. We share in-depth analysis of what goes behind success stories. If you find our conversations interesting, you can join us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. You can also listen to SparX on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or any other audio platform of your choice. If you have any suggestions on who we should invite or what topics we need to cover, just let us know in the comments. We are always listening, looking for ways to improve, and keep getting better as we go along.